guys, and welcome back to V.I.Ps in Action, a collaboration between JMM Health Solutions and R.O.S E, Reaching Our Sisters Everywhere Incorporated. My name is Dr. Joanne Michelle Martin. I am a pelvic floor physical therapist here in the Atlanta metro area, and I am bringing to you several amazing individuals throughout the next several weeks who are going to be talking about their organizations, what they're doing within their respective communities, as well as future projects, wishes, desires within the birthing community to help us to continue to elevate the BIPOC community, to help us to elevate mothers in general, and so that moms and babies alike can get all the services and resources that they need. Now, today I have a very special guest with me, Zenobia Harris of the Arkansas Birth Project. She is one of the recipients of the V.I.P cohorts grant, and she will be telling us a little bit today about Arkansas Birth Project, what they're doing, what they've been doing, and other expectations. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're absolutely welcome. So tell us about yourself, who you are, where you are, what you're doing. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, I come from a 35 plus year history of working in public health most of my professional career. I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner by training. I also have a doctorate in public health nursing and administration, and have provided support to families and communities all during that period that I've been active in public health. I retired a few years ago from active public health duty and have been working pretty much with Arkansas Birthing Project, and as well as a few of my professional nursing organizations, but particularly the Birthing Project, which is an affiliate of Birthing Project USA. Birthing Project USA is a 30-year plus organization that was established in Sacramento, California by a former Arkansan who had worked for the California Public Health Department in their maternal and child health division, and was really concerned about the amount of money they were spending on premature babies, the care for premature babies. And so she did a social experiment using some of her friends. They formed a circle of 10, what they call sister friends, and they provided support to 10 high-risk pregnant women, young girls in their community. And what they found astounded them. They had better outcomes. The babies were born closer to term. The moms did better during the pregnancy and also afterwards. And they continued the project through the first year of life of the babies. So she decided to replicate, and she did it again and again. And then the rest is history. She left her job at the public health department and went full time across the country establishing birthing projects. Now there are well over 110 birthing projects around the United States and in some foreign countries. And we in Arkansas are very happy to have the statewide project because she is as Catherine Hall Trujillo is the founder, and she is an Arkansan, or did come from Arkansas. I've been working with the Birthing Project off and on for about 20 years. After I first heard Catherine Hall Trujillo speak about the project, I became very intrigued about it, of course, with my background in maternal and child health. And so we started a small birthing project about 20 years ago, and off and on have been sponsoring small birthing projects in Arkansas. Since 2015, we've become incorporated and have begun to try to strategically approach starting birthing projects in local communities. Now, what is a birthing project? An Arkansas Birthing Project, basically, we train community volunteers to provide social support to women, Black women, during their pregnancy and for the first year of life of their babies. And those women that volunteer for this can be from any walk of life. You don't necessarily have to be a health professional. You just have to, as Mama Cat says, have good common sense and a desire to serve your community. And so we do recruit volunteers to come in and learn some of the format of our programs, how we like to administer the support we provide. And then we recruit young women in our communities who are pregnant and would like additional support during their pregnancies. I had the good fortune when I first began to mentor a young woman who now is in her 40s, and in fact, she's a grandmother now, and she actually, her daughter is in college, her baby that was born to us. So I've been at this a long time, and it is like when you provide that support, it's like, and we want it to be like adding another person to your family. Add in another a person who cares about you, who's concerned about your welfare and the baby's welfare, and who will assist you in identifying resources that you need or that you desire, will encourage you to dream about the future and plan for the future for yourself and your baby. Because what we find is many of our young women don't plan for the future. They don't have dreams for themselves. They don't have aspirations for their children. And we think that that is very important. So we think it's very important for us to take responsibility for our own community by encouraging those things within the women in our community. As far as the V.I.P.S project is concerned, we did apply for a V.I.P.S grant. And with that grant, we're contracting with a community doula network called the Ujima Maternity Network in Arkansas. And that's a combination of different doulas that work in the central Arkansas area. And because of COVID-19, it has really changed the way that we have had to reach out to people. So we're going to a virtual way of operating where we actually recruit people virtually, we connect people virtually, and they meet virtually, because we do ask the sister friends to meet with their little sisters on a regular basis. And then what the doulas are going to do is provide some one-on-one support to women that need additional breastfeeding support, because we find that many women in our communities do not breastfeed because there's no history of breastfeeding in their family, or they are discouraged from breastfeeding, sometimes even with their care providers and also in the hospital settings, or they give up really, really quickly if they encounter any kind of difficulty early in the breastfeeding period. So we want to connect our women with doulas who provide not only just breastfeeding support, but also any other problem support and care and extra counseling during that pregnancy period and postpartum period. Another thing that we're interested in doing, and this is going to be one of our big projects this coming year, is to add a male component to our program, because we believe that it's important that the fathers are more involved and also have the kinds of support they need. So we're actually in the process of forming a fatherhood support board or group of men who will help us to fashion that particular piece to accompany the support that we provide women and their babies. I can't hear you.
I think that is phenomenal. That is usually a missing component within communities, especially a lot of minority communities, is
Absolutely.
inclusion of the males and having support. Dads need support too. And especially if we're talking a first baby,
Absolutely.
where we think, well, this is new for moms, this is new territory for moms, and certainly they need all the support they can get. Well, so do dads. So I do
Yes.
like that initiative, and I think that
Yes.
that would be something that would be well received, and hopefully could be expanded upon, not just in Arkansas, but elsewhere in the country. What I do love what you said, and it's kind of almost like the gift that keeps on giving, is that even though you guys go on to support these young ladies, you essentially become a part of their family.
Yes.
And I feel like that is so rewarding. And I wonder how many of those who were supported ended up becoming supporters themselves, and then giving back to other people, who may have found themselves in a situation where they were involved in they had a high risk pregnancy, or they needed support, or they didn't have help, or a family structure unit to kind of guide them, or whatnot. So I do think that this is very, very interesting. What types of struggles have you seen, if any, with regards to getting a program of this magnitude off the ground?
Well, I think it was very important to me not to be connected with any traditional kinds of programs in our communities that were operated by, I think, groups or organizations that have longstanding histories of providing healthcare, quote unquote, to our communities, because I didn't want to feel beholden to those organizations in terms of moving forward and meeting the needs of the women that we're serving, the families that we're serving. So it's very important, and because of that, I think there's been some restriction in terms of us getting referrals from people, and also the uptake in terms of people understanding who we are and how we fit into the grand scheme of things.
Mhm.
Um, but that's okay, I think, because I think to have that kind of independence is important because the program needs to reflect the needs of the people that it's serving and not necessarily the organizations that do get funding for various and sundry reasons and ways to support maternal and child health kinds of programs. So we are a grassroots program. We pretty much volunteer operated. If we continue to or continue to be successful and reach out, then certainly I see us doing that by partnershiping. We do have a board of directors, and most of our board members have actually been sister friends themselves, and so they have that personal experience themselves and can better understand, I think, the needs of our clients or the people that we serve and support. And that, I think that's a very important component. So I think getting recognition from more mainstream organizations has been a challenge, but I wouldn't necessarily deterrent to us. But and the way that we intake people is we do it by word of mouth because we don't have a big budget to advertise and that kind of thing. So it's a slow growth, but I think it's worthwhile.
Now, what, with regards to that though, what, you know, and especially dealing with younger populations, you did say this is a statewide project. How many cities throughout the state, or have you noticed that this program has been adopted in? And then also, what about rural areas? Because what we're finding, especially with the utilization of technology, is that we don't have as much access in more rural areas. With technology, given that there is infrastructure, we may be able to have increased access. So, how have you found, for example, like you said, utilizing the doulas been more helpful? Um,
Well, what we're beginning to see, because we just started this project, well, what we're beginning to see is that there are some access issues in rural communities, and we've been trying to focus in the southeast Arkansas area because that's where a lot of African Americans live in rural communities in southeast Arkansas in the Delta.
mhm.
And what we find is sometimes there's a connectivity issues regarding access to the internet and that kind of thing. And so I can see how we can be a bridge to help to facilitate people getting better access by actually either finding resources to be able to pay for that access for people or bringing that access to them with various and sundry tools that we have at our disposal. So that's something we're beginning to get involved with and get a greater understanding about. We do have a pretty strong cohort down in Southeast Arkansas, in the Lake Village area. One of our sister friends there is also a national trainer with Birthing Project USA. And so she has done a really phenomenal job of reaching, and she's also a women's health nurse practitioner who had worked with the health department for many years. So she actually accessed and worked with young women every day who were pregnant and living in those communities in Southeast Arkansas, and was able to kind of see the needs from a medical perspective, but also from the social perspective. And so she's done a really incredible job of recruiting women and providing support. And then we have a few other sister friends in other communities in Southeast Arkansas. There's a new one we're trying to start in Lee County, which is again in Southeast Arkansas. So I'm hoping that that sister friend will be able to successfully recruit a few young women also for us to provide support around and provide the doula support for.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I know with the, you know, the advent of COVID and just
Ah,
really trying to, I know one day it'll be over.
I
But
pray. Oh,
really just trying to reach, because you know it's already bad enough that we've got high risk moms, you know, high risk
yes.
pregnancies, and then to, you know, they're not able to leave the homes. Maybe they've got young ones, they're concerned about their health, the health and safety of
Yes.
their young ones. What other things have you noticed have been helpful? So we talked about the connectivity, some infrastructure that, you know, if present, could help these women have more access. What things are you finding most that moms needs? Is it a particular type of support? Maybe lactation, maybe just general education, just resources in general. What are you finding most?
Well, I think it varies. Certainly, housing sometimes can be an issue, particularly a young woman who has tried to branch out on her own and perhaps didn't all have all of her ducks in a row to be able to do that. So housing has been an issue. I know our Southeast Arkansas sister friend has found young women that she's actually had to help make housing arrangements for because they were sleeping on people's couches, and they didn't have a place for their children or child really to sleep and that kind of thing. So I think getting bedding for kids, babies, child car seats, those are always things that we need to help access. And then sometimes actually just connecting people with sources of care and encouraging people to utilize those sources of care. In rural communities, that can be a challenge sometimes. I mean, people have to drive longer distances to get to care providers and then to actually get to delivery sources. And so they have a lot more challenges than, let's say, people that we see that live in urban communities.
Mm-hmm. And now, so we've talked about those as being some of the struggles. What have you found to be the successes in running this program? In being able to touch the lives of other young women. What have you noticed, or what successes have you seen with this particular project?
Well, we see a lot of, I call it empowerment. I call it the fulfillment of the potential within women that we connect with. There have been several young women that we have provided support to, that in turn have learned how to do that for other people. And by doing so, I think they've become more grounded within themselves. And that's a really gratifying thing to see and to experience and to be a part of. And that's what we're all about. That's what we should be doing. We're growing our community. We're growing our village, uh, person by person. And I think it creates a sisterhood that is unlike many that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing. Any future projects that you guys, given all that you've experienced this year with COVID and, transition to virtual, and maybe some of the things that you've seen that you've talked about before, any future projects that you think would be, definitely beneficial as you move forward with the birth project and as you look for new ways and new initiatives to help moms?
Well, I mentioned the fatherhood project. I think that's going to be a good way to help not just moms with the babies as well, the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a really important thing. Um, we have a need for a diaper bank in our state. And so that's something we probably are going to branch out into in terms of providing that kind of support or availability for not only just women that we serve, but also other women in our communities that might need that kind of resource. And then, of course, continue to gain resources for, there's always a need for car seats. There's always a need for pack and play baby beds, those kinds of material supports. And then, of course, from time to time, women's organizations have baby showers, or they give us resource blankets and children's clothing and that kind of thing that we can distribute when people need that. And I sometimes get calls from people who, they don't necessarily want to be a part of the birthing project, but they're looking for those kind of resources. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, we try to help them out. We try to do what we can. So we'll continue to do those things.
That's amazing. I hope you're able to. I mean, you think about, it's just the little things. For
Little
example,
things.
diapers. Diapers are,
Yes.
they're
Oh,
expensive. God, they're expensive. And for a lot of parents, that can be a struggle. And you think about,
can.
you know, what has happened in the last year with COVID,
Oh my gosh.
loss of jobs, some people losing their homes. It's really impacted a lot of people,
It
some more
has.
severely than others. And then you think that, something so simple could be all that is needed. Like, and I really think that programs such as yours need to have more presence within our communities. People need to be more aware of them so that they can kind of help, but also spread the word, because how many women are probably unaware that this even exists? That's the other
Well,
thing.
that is something I think we need to do more of, and that's something our board will be trying to address in terms of how we can get better um, visibility of what we can offer to communities. And I think we're going to have to work a lot more with our churches, with our women's church groups, because we are in the Bible Belt,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a really great way to meet or to connect with a lot of African American women by going through the churches.
Mhm.
There's also a cohort, a group that works through our public health department called Sisters United, which is it's a program that actually outreaches to Black sororities, and they actually train sorority leaders to go out and do educational pieces about safe childcare and safe sleep, eating healthy while you're pregnant, those kinds of things. And I think if we probably do more of a connection with that group, that would be another way, I think, to probably recruit some additional sister friends in local communities and little sisters that we hadn't, um, been able to reach. So those, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I think if we can just make it through this COVID period,
Mhm.
I think we'll be. I mean, it certainly has opened my eyes to the needs that exist in our community, but also the resilience of our people, of
Mhm.
Black people,
Yeah.
and that's a blessing.
Amen to that. And I think when we talk about, we talk about programs such as this, and we talk about programs within BIPOC communities and how we can continue to elevate these communities, how we can continue to make sure that the next generation is even better off because of simple things, care for the generation before. If we've got certain things in place, where we can care for mothers and care for babies so that those babies grow up to be healthy and strong, they're cared for, they're nurtured, and become their best selves. It's amazing how we might not necessarily look at these initiatives as such, but it's really paving the way for future generations. um,
Absolutely.
and I think when we talk about really uplifting our communities, that the end goal, the long goal, is really to make it better for future generations. So I think this is an amazing initiative, and I really, those of you who are tuning in, definitely look up the Arkansas Birth Project and see what they're about. Do you guys have a platform where people can donate if they choose to help
Yeah,
you
on our
guys?
website, if they can go onto our website or contact us on Facebook, and we
Hmm.
accept donations. Um, and we'll probably be doing more outreach for donations too on those platforms in the coming months. Uh, haven't done a lot of donation drive thing right now. We've just been trying to kind of get through this whole change we've had to transition through with COVID right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but we have get. In fact, I just got a contact today. Someone wanted to donate some diapers to us, and
There you
we get
go.
those kind of contacts. So we will follow up. Baby clothes.
Hmm.
And if we don't have somebody who has an immediate need, then we donate those things to another organization who might be providing support, because you know our our community is our community. It's broad,
Hmm.
and we are our sisters keepers.
Yep, we certainly are. And in addition to donations, you mentioned the Facebook page. What is the Facebook page? Is it Arkansas Facebook/Arkansas Birth Project?
Yes,
Okay, okay. And what other ways can people reach out to you? Or are those the two main ways?
ArkansasBirthingProject.com, and like us on Facebook,
And there you
Arkansas
go.
Birthing Project.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us regarding, the organization, regarding, what you guys wish to see, hope for the future, your hope for 2021, a 2021 without COVID, maybe?
Hmm. Number one. Well, Arkansas is known as the Diamond State, and we think that we're supporting our precious diamonds. Our precious diamonds are our babies and our moms, our families, and we think that's our responsibility. So we take that very seriously.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I think this is a great initiative. Definitely here, if there are any organizations even here within Georgia that I know of that you would be a great collaboration for you, I'll certainly pass those along. But guys, if you are listening, again, go to the arkansasbirthingproject.com. Check them out on Facebook, Arkansas Birthing Project, and get to know them. I mean, this organization is doing phenomenal things in helping young moms and helping moms who have high risk pregnancies that may be in need of resources, that may be in need of support systems, and soon, very soon, supporting dads as well. So if you're
Yes,
now
that's our
catching us
hope.
at the tail end of this conversation, definitely go back, watch it from the beginning. They're doing such amazing work within their community. They definitely could use your support. So check them out on their website and look to donate, whether that's financially or materially. Look to donate to help these moms and to help this community continue to build and to continue to grow and thrive. Ms. Harris, I thank you so much for joining me and sharing all that, all that you guys are doing in Arkansas, really working, within this cohort to continue to elevate people within the birthing community. This is some powerful work, and this is work that never stops. So, I thank
Yes.
you for your efforts for sure.
Well, thank you, Dr. Martin. Thank you so much for your invitation.
You're absolutely welcome. Guys, stay tuned again for another episode. We're doing these episodes of all those within the V.I.P cohort, Village in Village Innovating Perinatal Support in Action. And so we are doing all these interviews again with all those recipients of the grant. We will be shining a light on many other birth professionals, many other organizations that are doing phenomenal work throughout the country. So this is not just in one location, this is throughout the country. There's so much work being done, that many are unaware of, but it is benefiting so many individuals. So stay tuned. You're going to find us on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/JMM Health Solutions. Also, you want to go to rosebreastfeeding.org. That's where you can find more information about Reaching Our Sisters Everywhere Incorporated, who we're doing this collaboration with. So again, thank you for tuning in to V.I.Ps in Action. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.